Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cracking the Code. I'm your host, Elizabeth. And if you're a regular listener, thank you for sticking around with us all the way to episode 12. We appreciate you being on this journey with us. Today, we're diving into the world of NAICS 518210, data processing, hosting, and related services. So in translation, it's the heart of the federal cloud, data, and digital modernization. And as always, I've got my two favorite co-conspirators here. I've got Mon, our data whisperer, and all right, let's warm this thing up. So this NAICS code touches almost every major modernization effort in the government. It talks cloud migrations, data hosting, analytics, zero trust, and CMMC compliant work for DoD. So it's basically all the things that agencies can't stop talking about. Rena, our industry strategist, who can help take a spreadsheet and turn it into a battle plan. Mon and Rena, welcome. Mon, I know you've been neck deep in the numbers, as usual, so did you get a high-level sense of what the data shows?
Sure, long story short, it's large, active, and mission critical. From our validated fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 24 extract, the biggest buyers by obligation and activity were the Department of Defense, HHS, DHS, BA, and DOT.
Exactly. The data set doesn't show just spend, it shows behavior. And that behavior maps to agency missions, which tells the companies where to focus.
Nice. Mon, what are 2 or 3 data points that listeners should absolutely remember from this report?
Here are my headline takeaways that I applied to this report and that you can defend with the data set. The first one is that top buyers and scale. DoD, HHS, DHS, BA, and DOT were the largest buyers under NAICS code 518210 across fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 24. The data set shows these agencies account for the majority of obligations within the NAICS code. Number 2, different buying styles. Some agencies, like parts of HHS, issue many task orders with small dollar values. Others, like certain DoD components, were fewer but very large hosting and cloud modernization contracts. And number 3, security is baked into the money. A very large share of high dollar hosting and platform awards include explicit security requirements, FedRAMP, zero trust elements, and DoD facing CMMC expectations where DoD data is involved. Those 3 points anchor a lot of the strategic advice we provide today.
Great. Thanks, Mon. And Rena, can you translate for our listeners? Based on the facts that Mon has just shared with us, what should companies do in the next 6, 18, and 24 months?
Short answer, prioritize, qualify, and demonstrate performance. Let's start with 6 months. Prioritize agencies where the dataset shows consistent task order velocity. For example, HHS expanding public health data platforms. Homeland Security strengthening cyber and identity systems. DoD scaling secure cloud and mission system hosting. This allows your BD teams to predict the type of modernization each agency will invest in next and focus outreach on those specific program offices and PMOs driving those mission priorities in their agencies. Qualify fast. Make sure your offerings match the typical vehicles those agencies use. What IDIQs, BPAs, GWAC task orders. So you do have to be present on those in the short term. Long term, let's look at 18 months. You have to demonstrate security maturity. Obtain or document FedRAMP authorizations. CMMC readiness for DoD work. It's not an option anymore. Agencies are emphasizing verified controls in proposals and source selection. Build capture plays for large vehicles we see in the data set. Being on or partnered with vehicle holders materially improves your win rates. And it's not even an option anymore because of the consolidation of these contracts. Long term, you look at 24 months, If you're looking at where do I invest, how do I grow my business, invest according to mission-specific modernization patterns. Align your scale and partnership to the actual modernization trajectories shown in the data set. For example, in health and human services, they're scaling public health data ecosystems, and they need partners experienced in high volume, high integrity data hosting. Homeland Security is expanding in identity, access, and cyber driven infrastructure, and they favor vendors with secure cloud and zero trust aligned architectures. DoD moving tactical cloud, distributed compute, and CMMC anchored data environments. They require partners who can operate in controlled and denied environments. So, again, look at the mission of the partner or the agency that you want to service and invest in technologies and capabilities where you can service those missions. Modernization isn't generic, it is very much mission anchored. So build ecosystems that match what the agency is clearly signaling through its buying patterns. It's all in the numbers.
That's great, Rena. I like it. Practical and measurable. So, Mon, can you point out a couple of the concrete examples that, the data set would illustrate to show these timelines?
Sure. This is where the visuals in the slide deck really help tell the story. When you look at the slide showing HHS award volume by fiscal year, those spikes line up with mission-driven events like public health data expansions, program onboarding cycles, and major grants. And if you flip to the slide with DoD's total obligations over time, you see those large step function jumps, the big bars, that directly connect to mission modernization cycles. Things like command and control platforms moving to cloud, logistics systems, or deployments of distributed tactical compute environments. The visuals make this predictable. When DoD enters a modernization wave, the dollars hit NAICS code 518210 in very distinct, very visual blocks. So the slides aren't just pretty charts, they are mission signals. They show exactly what type of modernization each agency tends to fund when their activity spikes, not just when they spend.
The security keeps coming up in both of your comments. Rena, Mon, can you quickly and in plain language explain how should companies treat zero trust in CMMC and their bids and their capability statements?
You have to treat them as qualifiers. If you are selling to DoD programs, CMMC readiness or a clear roadmap is expected. For civilian agencies, zero trust alignment, as it was called out in OMB M2209, is increasingly part of solicitation requirements.
And the data set shows it. Many higher dollar hosting awards include explicit security language. So when you answer an RFP, don't just say we are secure. Show the evidence. FedRAMP level, identity and access control, zero trust design, or CMMC level you meet or plan to meet.
Short and clear, show the proof, don't just... All right, I'll pull all of us into a topic that everyone is buzzing about. Of course, it's AI. Generative AI, automation, missions analytics, y'all, it's everywhere. But what I want to know, we keep saying it, but is this actually influencing the federal infrastructure spend under NAICS 518210? Mon, I know you've been watching the data closely, as always. So what are you truly seeing? Not just the hype, not predictions, but real defendable signals under this NAICS.
I know AI is quite a buzz, but here's what's factual. While NAICS code 518210 isn't where agencies buy AI tools, it is where agencies build, expand, and secure the data environments AI depends on. And in the data set, we are seeing bigger hosting environments to support AI model training and mission analytics, higher performance requirements for data platforms, and more references to scalable storage, high availability compute, and secure data processing, all prerequisites for AI. So yes, AI isn't the line item, but it's absolutely the reason some hosting and data modernization spend is growing.
And from a strategy perspective, companies need to hear this. Agencies cannot adopt AI if their data is a mess or their hosting environment is outdated. So any vendor who can position themselves as AI-ready infrastructure enablers will be more competitive.
So essentially, it's not about selling AI directly, more so it's about being the foundation that the AI sits on. So we also use public sources to make sure that our interpretations are consistent with the federal policies and the broader market. So Mon, can you summarize the outside references that back up the big claims that we're making?
Sure. And we reference the DoD CMMC program materials, the OMB Zero Trust Memo, M2209, GSA materials on the Ascent Cloud BPA, and reporting on the DoD GWCC Cloud Vehicle, all of which confirm the policy and vehicle level strength.
And put differently, these public policy moves, the Zero Trust CMMC, and the emergence of large cloud vehicles aren't just background noise. They are direct signals for vendors. If you want to stay competitive, align your offerings to those mandates. Target the specific contract vehicles that agencies are channeling their modernization dollars through. Agencies are telegraphing what they will fund next, and companies that adopt those signals will win more consistently.
All right, ladies, let's bring this thing home. We've covered the data, the mission signals, the security requirements, and even the AI-driven shifts in infrastructure. But let's get practical for a minute. Why should someone download the full report? What would they actually be getting from the report that they can't pick up from listening to this podcast today?
That is because the report gives you the full defensive picture, the actual multi-year award data broken down by agency, mission type, spending patterns, and infrastructure strengths. You can see which agencies favor high-volume task orders, which consistently issue large modernization awards, and which sub-agencies are emerging as the next major buyers. It helps companies build a capture plan that isn't based on guesswork. It is based on evidence.
And the strategy piece is where the report becomes actionable. We didn't just analyze data. We've translated it into specific guidance. For example, which agencies are primed for data hosting modernization in the next 6, 12, 24 months? Which contract vehicles matter the most and why some are becoming central to cloud and hosting spend? What security expectations are becoming mandatory in proposals? And how to shape your messaging so it aligns the mission and modernization signals the data clearly shows.
In other words, it's everything that you need to understand where the market is going and how to position yourself for it.
Exactly. And because everything in the report ties back to the real data set, companies can use it with confidence in their planning.
Whether you're a small business deciding which agencies to prioritize, a prime building your partnership ecosystem, or an executive planning investment, the report gives you that clarity.
So for everyone listening, if you want the full picture, the mission context, the spending patterns, and the strategies that turn the data into decisions, head on over to our website and download that full report. It's free, it's comprehensive, and it's built to help you win. That's a wrap on episode 12 of Cracking the Code. Thank you both for turning data and policy into something that teams can actually act on. To all of our listeners, thank you for spending time with us. And again, don't forget to download that full report at www.bitexecs.com. We'll see you next time as we continue helping you decode the federal market one mission trend and one modernization cycle at a time.